my goodness, everybody. It's Dr. Kashey here, and I want to tell you that I went out. I was in a situation where chocolate fondue and biscuits with gravy were the only option I had. There's absolutely no other thing I could possibly do in a situation. That's all I had to eat. No choice. Things can get a bit tricky when you're in a situation, especially when traveling or in a restaurant where it feels like food options you have do not really drive with what you need to consume to stay on track. Or if you're in a position where things are catered or whatever, you just feel like it's out of control in the context of what you have in order to stay on track. Sometimes people travel or eat out all the time, and in this context, your environments can be a bit tricky. Room service isn't always there to have fit and ready options, or whatever little silly things they use. In any case, frequently eating out because of sales or business meetings or whatever, forcing yourself to have to eat in either airports or gas stations or convenience stores, it's quite easy to feel helpless in situations like that and just give in and consume whatever is convenient at the time. Chocolate fondue and biscuits with gravy were the only option. I didn't have a choice. I had to eat it. Happens more often than you think. You get overwhelmed. Sometimes you just get what's there. If you're not overwhelmed, sometimes because you want to celebrate, sometimes because you're out of your natural habitat. It's a perfect opportunity to be a big kid. Bring a sack lunch. At least that gets you through the airport fiasco for a day. I recognize that at a lot of conventions and summits and masterminds and whatever else people call them, conferences, that's another one, they put all of sorts of snacky stuff out, and typically delicious and high calorie density. There is a way around this, and that's to come up with a plan ahead of time. Where I made the joke earlier about bringing a sack lunch, but really I wasn't joking. The most successful people that travel and eat in situations where choices are typically limited, they bring a lot of their food with them. And this goes all the way up the chain. CEOs, Olympians, high profile entrepreneurs, celebrities, all these people that are in the situation they're in and look the way they want to look and make progress where they want to make progress are because they make these plans ahead of time. Many of them will bring their own food or have custom food delivered or whatever. There is the option to bring quite a bit of non-perishable food with you wherever you go on top of perishable food. Jerkies, protein bars, nuts, other meal replacement options are totally realistic. Getting good carbohydrate option while traveling is not very difficult. Most of the time it's just a lack of protein. So if you're bringing protein with you, whether it's something like jerky or something that's a little more shorter of a half-life, that's a good science word, or shelf life I guess is what I mean, you can really get quite far if you just bring protein with you. It's amazing how easy it is to get a well-balanced snack now. You just have to look a little bit harder, or just look at all, and maybe not go to the restaurant that, you know, the first thing you see when you're hungry and you're passing by. The next bigger option is definitely gonna be to events that have set menus. And it really is easy to give the impression to yourself you just don't have a choice. That's all they have. I have no options. Biscuits and gravy and fondue, right? Maybe there may only be one or two options on the menu, and you only have that choice. You do have the choice of what you actually end up eating and how much. You always have control of that. Controlling portions of some foods, doubling portions of others, chances are you can mix and match a meal that actually does make a bit of sense at whatever conference you're at. Coming up with a plan ahead of time, especially in this context of summits, conferences, masterminds, and other social events where the menus are pretty set, it'll go far. This is doubly and triply true when it comes to social drinking, in which case, something clear and bubbly with a straw will go pretty far. It'll go even further with an umbrella. You don't have to walk around with nothing, but you can walk around with something that's fizzy in a rocks glass like Diet Sprite, club soda, tonic water may also be an option. Chances are, some servers rolling around there is a banquet table that have some vegetable options too. Take advantage of those while you can. I doubt they will be the first things to go. There's typically no reason to consume any of the random confections they have, which are typically store-bought, delivered anyway, and like bread is just bread. Like that's boring. It's stupid. Don't eat it just because it's there. That's not reasonable. You can get that anywhere. It's a little tougher to track what you consume, so just stick to the protein and vegetable options. If salad is an option, great. Get the dressing on the side. If wine is served at dinner, also no problemo. Have your glass. Be sociable. The main dish can follow similar guidelines that are at restaurants. If it's calorically dense, or a lot of it, you can have part of it packaged. Only eat half, or whatever portion you need. Always make sure to focus on the protein portion. Chances are the desserts are probably going to be something made en masse and entirely generic. If you don't have it, you won't miss it. I can almost guarantee it. The bottom line is that you may not have choices on exactly what is served, but you do have the option of whether or not you eat and how much of it you do eat. And that's good. There are really only two options you need. Also, when it comes to travel, you may always have the option of a pantry or a refrigerator to roll out to get yourself a healthy snack, which I love snacks. Snacks are good. Bring them with you. Allocate your snacks on a per day basis while you travel. This is an excellent idea. It works really well. Having bars and jerkies and other mixes on hand that you can consume as your snacks while you're traveling, it'll work really well. You can easily pack enough to last however long your trip is. If your trip is exorbitantly long, you'll probably have access to a kitchen or a store to refresh your stores anyway. So don't give me that crap. It's all good. Always make sure you've allotted enough time in your schedule to get the types of foods that you need. You can do it. Bring a good portion of food with you, especially in terms of protein. That will go far. It will be the best option you have. If there's no refrigerator in your room, ask for one. Another popular option that works pretty well now is to let whatever event or co-coordinator know that you have a gluten-free, dairy-free diet, and chances are they'll provide a meal that's going to be much friendlier for anybody's wellness intervention program. Lastly, remind yourself that you may not have exact control over what is served, but you do have control over how much you eat and if you eat. Just because it's there doesn't mean you have to consume it en masse either. It's okay. So I want to summarize here. Make a plan beforehand. It will always be your best option. Sack lunches are a great option. That's just being an adult. Carbohydrate options are easily accessible in most places, so don't worry about making those perfect. Non-perishable protein snacks will be your best weapon against hunger and temptation, and you will always have a choice in how much you eat or if you eat. Chill. It's all good. Keep it up.